The combined force of the British Fashion Council with global environmental programme goals linked to the United Nations framework and the G7 Fashion Pact, and with the support of the British government, sends a market signal which can rapidly mobilise others to act. We must be able to demonstrate wholesale change in attitudes, actions and processes, and allow the United Kingdom to become an exemplar for forward-thinking practice in the global fashion community. If I may, ladies and gentlemen, I would most strongly urge a commitment by attendees of this forum and their extended network to signing the Terra Carta, to adhere to the mission and implement the roadmap produced by the Institute of Positive Fashion. Also, to allow scrutiny and checks to ensure milestones are reached ahead of time. The fashion industry, with an abundance of technical innovators and creative thinkers, can be a real force for good in the battle to protect our planet. I need hardly say I eagerly look forward to hearing from the team at the British Fashion Council about the progress of the Institute over the coming months and years. And in the meantime, can only send you all my warmest good wishes.
Morning, sis.
Morning.
Morning, Mum.
Hello. Finally decided to join us then, have you?
Yeah.
When I was about 9, my mother had a school to teach women how to sew. What I used to do was scramble along the floor, pick up pieces of fabrics and make dresses for my dolls.
Right, guys.
Ooh.
Bonici. How handsome do you look?
Stop. Thank you.
Oh my word. Suits you so well. Beautiful.
Help build Aluwali's next collection and contribute to making fashion more responsible by donating your loved but unwanted garments. Submit, ship, redeem. Learn more at circulate.aluwalia.world.
In fashion, mushrooms are the future.
Someone once said to me, when you throw something away, there is no away, which is really the reason I wanted to launch I Am a Plastic Bag. Back in 2007, when we launched the original I Am Not a Plastic Bag with Antidote and We Are What We Do, the idea very simply was about awareness of the enormity of single-use plastic going into landfill. I'm Not a Plastic Bag was a baptism of fire. It was a project that just really seemed to touch a nerve. And in fact, the British Retail Consortium state that the number of single-use plastic bags went from 10 billion to 6.1 billion after the project. So it was a phenomenal reduction in virgin plastic. So it's a project I'm really proud of. It was also, frankly, a bit scary. 80,000 people queued on the opening day for this bag in the UK, and it went on and on as it went around the world. So Tokyo, New York, LA, Hong Kong, thousands and thousands of people. The conversation has moved on from one of awareness to one of circularity of materials. There are 8 billion tonnes of plastic on the planet, and the question is, how can we stop making more plastic and instead reuse what we already have rather than it go into landfill? So we've spent the last 2 years working on a woven fabric that is actually made from recycled PET, so it's actually made from recycled plastic bottles. But what is really special about it is it actually feels like a really rich cotton canvas, so it feels very natural. But we also wanted to add a coating to the fabric so that it would really last, to protect it. We really wanted to find a coating that was recycled, and that took a long time. However, eventually we managed to source a recycled PVB, which is actually the plastic that goes between the two bits of glass in a windscreen to stop it shattering. It's been really complicated to achieve, and in fact I think probably every line on my face is to do with that project, but I think the bag is really beautiful, and I hope our customers will love it. At the end of the day, something that I hope they will really want to keep, which is a really important point. The bag is actually a really amazing example of modern craftsmanship, and it's actually a feat of engineering. To make the bag, we have to recover the bottles, clean them, smash them, break them down into pellets, and then we melt them, make them into fibres, and then we weave them into fabric. We then coat the fabric with the recycled PVB and make it into a really beautiful bag in our factory in Florence. We then trim the bag in leather, and it's funny because we went full circle on the subject of leather. We started off thinking that we wanted to use a recycled leather, but in fact we found out that they mash up all the recycled leather and then mix it back together again with plastic. And then we looked at vegan leather, but in fact that is mainly just plastic. We looked at plant-based alternatives as well, and actually there's some really interesting things, but they're not quite there yet in terms of strength and longevity and also in terms of look for what we need. So we've come full circle back to leather, but leather that is from a gold standard working leather group tannery, which gives assurances in terms of traceability of the skins. There's no deforestation, and of course they are a byproduct of the meat industry, so nothing goes to waste. But we're always looking for alternatives. Our motto is progress, not perfection.
The Institute of Positive Fashion presents the Future of Fashion Innovation Showcase. This is a curated set of world-leading UK-based innovators who are addressing key sustainability and responsible business challenges across fashion's complex value chain. The showcase will demonstrate how innovations are contributing to positive growth by addressing societal and environmental impacts across the industry. Innovators are working across each stage of the value chain to enable the growing global population to clothe and express ourselves, whilst ensuring equality without impacting the planet. The showcase will help to educate consumers by highlighting the true cost of a product, moving away from price as the only or main consideration. These innovators are leaders of change for the industry. This is the future of fashion.
My name is Alfredo, founder of Away to Mars. It is a tech fashion company based in London. We are an open source creative platform for designers all over the globe. I had the opportunity to see how wasteful the designing process is. There's this shift in thinking that we need to make from a one-person centric design process to an open source design process. Away to Mars put together designers with the support of artificial intelligence to achieve a better, more sustainable design and a final product. With that, we reduce wastage, all the consumer fabric, energy, time in the prototyping phase. I think the future of fashion is about collaborating.
Hi, my name is Edward Hill and I'm the Chief Science Officer at Matera. Cotton is an amazing natural material. It's renewable, recyclable, and the current issue has been that there are question marks around its production and its impact. We build resilient farm systems to empower more sustainable cotton supply chains. We do this through two key areas. The first is by better farm infrastructure. The second is by better farm management. There are external levers that need to be brought into the conversation. And we really think that's where investment from the supply chain can help to help that farmer give you the impact that you want. They're doing an amazing job. It's just the tools that they have sometimes limit what they can really manage. We're trying to basically make a way that you can feel confident that when you buy that cotton, it's being grown as ethically and as sustainably as possible.
I'm Maurier Coney, I'm CEO for Colorifics. Colorifics developed a new way of dyeing fabric. Textile dyeing is one of the most impactful areas in the textile industry. We use an enormous amount of water and chemicals to dye our clothes, and almost 25% of all of the world's chemicals are used in the textile industry, and most of them in this stage. At Colorifics, what we do is we borrow information from nature. We look at the information, how a color is made. We modify microorganisms to produce, deposit, and fix dyes directly onto the fabric, changing not only the way we make color, but also how we apply it. We're minimizing the footprint from a water, chemicals, and energy perspective.
My name is Caroline Sibyl, and I work as the design director at Notpla. Notpla is on the mission to make packaging disappear by utilizing seaweed to replace single-use plastics. The negative environmental impact of the solutions that we have in packaging today are mainly plastic-based, and that material actually lasts for 700 years to break down. Notpla products can be used by replacing the plastics that are used to ship all of our fashion and items around. We created an alternative made from seaweed, which is naturally biodegradable and even edible. Within the fashion industry, there's a lot of different systems in place, so it's really important to work together with the different stakeholders that are in the value chain to make a positive change and to make these different solutions work together.
Hello, I'm Chris Archer-Brown and I'm CEO and co-founder of Monochain. It's a B2B service provider to provide fashion brands and retailers with a way to integrate resale into their own customers' journey. We're looking at being able to integrate solutions right the way through that cradle-to-cradle environment that really delivers a circular economy. One of the things that we do is manage that underlying process to allow the customer to be able to relist easily, and we provide our clients with the tools and the wherewithal to be able to integrate resale into their own customer journey. It's about really setting customers' expectations that when you finish with this item, don't discard it. Even one additional life significantly reduces its impact on the planet.
My name is Felix Winkler. I'm the co-founder and chief commercial officer of Reflaunt, which is a software company that helps brands and retailers get into the second-hand trade. We realized that brands and retailers were excluded from the second-hand trade and that they were missing out on a big opportunity. We bring resale as a service to brands and retailers so they can implement a resale solution in-house to allow their customers to be able to resell, donate or upcycle past purchases. Offering resale and upcycling to customers will facilitate the extension of the life cycle of those garments. And this is where you can measure the environmental impact of resale.
My name is Michael Wesley. I'm co-founder and chief operating officer of Sheep Inc. Sheep Inc. produces high-end merino wool knitwear based on a regenerative supply chain. That means each of our garment has a negative carbon footprint, the first garment in the world to do so, without the need to offset. We have a bottom-up approach to supply chain, so we wanted to find first the suppliers that provide our raw materials, and then we wanted to find suppliers across the chain. We source only from regenerative farms, use 100% solar power along our supply chain, and use materials that are fully biodegradable. We source our wool from 3 regenerative farms in New Zealand, and it starts with the sheep. And therefore, all our customers, when they buy a sweater, also adopt the sheep, one of the farms that we source our wool from. And it's our way of trying to bring people back in touch and really understand that there is an impact and a story behind everything we wear.
Fashion for Good is a global innovation platform that was set up to drive sustainable innovation across the fashion supply chain. Supporting innovation will enable businesses and organizations to become more future-proof.
I think the future of luxury is really exciting because there's going to be so much change. The fashion industry is such a big, long supply chain filled with so many different humans who work along it, and we don't know about them. Because of that reason, I think there are so many people who want change and who are making change happen within businesses. Mulberry is an amazing example of a luxury brand who said, we are going to change everything.
At Mulberry, we are the largest luxury manufacturer of leather goods in the UK. We produce a product that are made to last. We make a bag that will age beautifully. It's a bag that can be handed down from mother to daughter, daughter to granddaughter. The provenance of the product goes way back into the supply chain. Mulberry has been a willing participant in the sustainable world. So we've decided to take a more progressive leadership approach within our industry. Our Made to Last manifesto is of commitment through net zero carbon, regenerative agriculture, and a circular business model. Mulberry is committed to become net zero in emissions by 2035. That's 15 years ahead of the 2050 deadline set by the world leaders. We have to now look at our global operations and we have to look at our supply chain. So the only way we're going to do that is to partner with all our suppliers to understand the impact that our leather has right through its life cycle. We've partnered with Muirhead, who source over 98% of their leather from the UK. As a consumer of leather, which comes from livestock and cattle, it's a huge opportunity for the leather industry to engage with the ultimate source of that leather, the farms.
Fashion is so intertwined with agriculture. Regenerative agriculture is the opposite in many ways of conventional agriculture. It doesn't use any pesticides, uses crop rotation and animal rotation in order to fertilize the soil, and treats the farm as a living organism that actually can self-sustain.
Regenerative farming, livestock or arable, is about reinvigorating the landscape, bringing them alive. We give a mob of animals feed allocation and they graze that grass, the impact upon the land, they trample back down, and then we move on to the next block the next day. It creates rest, and landscape rest is what allows pastoral plants to develop. What we see here today is effectively 6 weeks worth of regrowth. What makes it grow back so quickly and healthy is the biomass in the soil underneath it. Through regenerative, we are able to draw down atmospheric carbon. We're able to store it in the soils. Mother Nature does all the hard work for us. We've just invested time in understanding how Mother Nature has evolved to operate over what is effectively 4 billion years.
That's so exciting to use a business as a vehicle for change. I definitely see a huge shift in the way the industry is working. People are really moving towards sustainability. And the question is not, are we going to do it, but how fast are we going to do it? You can be proud if you're working with factories who are above those standards, and then localizing the craftsmanship and also the whole supply chain.
We look continuously to reduce our impact on the environment, to extend the life of the product, to reduce the waste within that life cycle. For many years, we've had a Mulberry repair centre. Our customers cherish their bags, they're used on a daily basis, and things wear out. We've adapted that model to a Mulberry exchange programme.
Since we launched Bamford's clothing line, our focus has always been to work with the finest natural fibres. In 2019, Bamford purchased its own flock of pedigree merino sheep from a British farmer. They are reared just a few steps from my home, on my family's organic farm at Dalesford. But what is unique about this project is that Bamford is the first brand to be producing merino garments that never leave British soil. Our wool is grown, sheared, spun and knitted in the UK. The average merino supply chain is 18,000 miles. Ours is just 600. This is a moment for celebration, and I am conscious that we are just at the start of a journey towards pioneering increasingly sustainable solutions to create clothing responsibly. And with each step, we hope to tread a little more lightly.
We work with only recycled or organic certified materials, do a lot of upcycling. We work with a lot of waste streams and connect them to social manufacturing projects. We've used a lot of upcycled materials, from end-of-roll dead stock to upcycled denim to collaborating with other brands and using their waste. And then we kind of work with local crafts projects across London and Italy, working with hand-woven or hand-knitted materials, working with sample waste and patchworking that together. So it's kind of bringing artisanal and upcycling together.